All right, glory, glory, glory. Giving all honor, all praises to Yahweh and his son Yahweh Shai for the reading and the understanding of his words. Hallelujah. Giving all glory to those who trying to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. This is the Shema with your bro Shi'yah, and this is my brother Gabar. How you doing, brother?
All praise, brother. All praise. I'm doing well.
Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited. Today's class, the title of today's class. And now get this. I sent this and my brother eyebrows raised up real high. Today's title of today's class is called Menstruous Women. Menstruous Women is the title of today's class. I'm going to say it one more time. Menstruous Women. Now, when you say menstruous women, that is a term for unclean. Unclean. The Most High, because we broke the laws, he put a curse on us, okay? And these menstruous women will begin to take over. They will begin to do things. They will begin to be shameless. They will begin to even spoil our children, spoil the men who don't want to work. And so that's what we're talking about today. And we're going to, because we usually go and we try to hold our men accountable, okay? And we always try to hold our men accountable for what they do. But today, the topic of discussion is going to be menstruous women or unclean women, right? Now, watch this. I want you to go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 8. And this is a prophecy that was going to happen if we did not keep the law. So everything that you see today with our women out of order like this is just a symptom of the prophecy of what's happening. It's a symptom of our behavior. It's a symptom of us breaking the law, right? Now watch this. I want you to read that when you got it.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 5, verse 8. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be oft sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters.
You see that? He said there's going to be a confusion in all the places. Today, we have a big confusion. We have some things that are going wrong. What is part of the confusion today? Women don't have any shame. Our women don't have shame. I just seen a video, Gabar, this past week where a woman was told to change her attire, and she worked at a school, and so she put a video on, and she was trying to get people to boycott Costco. I don't know if you remember that video. It was this week. You could pull it up, and she was a real curvy lady, and she had on some pants, and the pants was really too tight. And it showed off all her curves, but she's like, I can't help it. I'm just curvy like this, and I'm dressed according to code, but they're doing this. And she was trying to get people to boycott Costco, right? But see, she was in her doing that, she didn't realize that she was supposed to be modest. She didn't realize that she was really disrespecting herself. She didn't realize, and you could tell when you looked at her, you can tell that she didn't have no shame. She didn't understand that the way she was really dressing, you know, okay, you got a big ass. Okay, you have a bunch of curves, and you really want to show them off. You're really trying to show off your curves, but you're trying to put it up under the guise of they're trying to body shame me. That listen, this is the phenomenon that's happening with our people. Our people have no shame. Our women have no shame. And worse than that, I'm gonna go here with you today, Gabar. And worse than that, you have women that glory in the shape of their daughters. How about that one?
Yeah.
How about that one?
Yeah.
How about that one? You have women that glory in the shape of their daughters. What am I talking about? Women who, if their daughter is in cheerleading a track or something, and they're looking at the bodies of their daughters and they're encouraging whorish ways. The Bible tells you not to do that, not to prostitute your daughter. And it's showing us that those behaviors are something that is happening, and it's giving our women no shame. So our women don't even see that they're erring. Right? Now watch this. Read the next verse on that. Do you have anything to add on that?
No.
Okay. Read that next verse. Now watch this.
2nd Esdras chapter 5, verse 9. And salt waters shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber.
No, watch this. It says, and salt water shall be found in the sweet. What is that? What is that talking about, brother? When it says salt water shall be found in the sweet, meaning every time you think something is the things that are unrighteous, we're going to take them as righteousness, right? The thing, a woman should be covering herself up because she shouldn't want her brother to see her sin, to sin by looking at her. A woman should want to teach her daughter to be modest because she shouldn't want her daughter to revel in her shape. Her shape shouldn't be what she's about. And that is the very thing that our women are about. It tells you, it says, and salt water shall be found in the sweet. And it says, and all friends shall destroy one another, meaning they're going to encourage each other in this folly. They're going to encourage each other in their sin. They're going to say it's okay. Even when somebody tries to correct you and say, sister, don't do that, you're going to look at that as somebody scorning you or somebody disrespecting you. Just if somebody tells you that you're dressed inappropriately, that's not cool, you're going to look at that as something wrong. And it says, then shall wit hide itself, meaning you're not going to even understand. Have you ever seen a video, brother, where the brothers are teaching and they're trying to tell a woman she's out of order and she can't understand it, so she goes into a fighting mode? That's when wit hides itself, when you don't even understand. Go ahead.
So funny that you're saying that, because I've been looking at different videos. I watch different camps, right? And I'm watching IUIC, and there's a couple of brothers I like that teach. And they were dealing with this one sister, and they were trying to tell her, and they telling her like, yeah, you see all these children you have? You see how you dress? Like,
yeah.
Are you currently with their father? And like they're giving her, they're pointing out the facts to her. Like, listen, do you see how you dress? You see all these children you got? And she was like, yeah, I got like 4 or 5 more at home. Okay, cool. So you got all these children. Are you with any of their fathers? Are you married? She tried to be smart, and she said something foolish. She said, yeah, I got 5 husbands. And then as soon as it came out of her mouth, you could see it in her face and the people that she with. And it was like, no, don't say that. Don't.
Wow.
No
wow.
shame. No shame.
No shame. She said, I got 5 husbands.
Excuse me. You talking about the sisters that rejoice in their daughters' bodies, right?
Yes.
Man, I'm a big music head, as you know. Erykah Badu. I love her music, but it was just not too long ago where her and her daughter are standing side by side, but it's a picture of their asses. And it's like,
man,
for what? Why?
What reason?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So exactly, your lesson is right on point. It's something that's needed today, man.
Yeah, because we have to bring this out, brother. And it tells you in the other part, it says, wit hide itself, and it says, and understanding withdraw itself unto the secret chambers, meaning understanding is nowhere to be found. They don't even, when you question women or put their feet to the fire, they don't even understand why you even having this conversation.
They don't.
And that's the bad part. They have no clue why we even having this conversation. Why you telling me this? Why you that? Because to let you guys know, there is a dress code and there is a protocol before you get into heaven. You do not come as you are. Come as you are will get you death. You're gonna perish. You're gonna get death for coming as you are. You cannot come into the kingdom, and you cannot get the kingdom of God with the way that you're behaving. Just like we can't get the kingdom with the way that if we don't get ourselves together and become men and take responsibility for the families, we can't get the kingdom of heaven. But guess what, ladies? You can't get the kingdom either if you persist on dressing provocatively, dressing without shame. They say, well, God ain't gonna judge me for my attire. He not gonna Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And we're going to get that today. We're going to get all these things today. I want you to go to Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 12. Isaiah 3 and verse 12 in the Bible. Because we have to bring back the understanding that the Most High is given to save our people from destruction. I'm going to say it again. We have to bring back the understanding that the Most High is given to save our people from destruction, because they have developed this lackadaisical attitude about salvation that is not true. There is a lackadaisical attitude about what we can do or can't do concerning salvation, and it's sickening. And it's sickening. You cannot get the kingdom behaving like a shameless woman. No shameless women and no whores of the daughters of Sarah shall enter into the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead, chapter 3 and verse 12.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. For as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy path.
You see that? He said, as for my people, he said children are their oppressors and women rule over them. This is a prophecy that's supposed to come true. That's here today in the scriptures. It says women are the ones that are responsible for the behavior of those children. The children do oppress, but when the man is out of that house, guess what happens? Those children develop a do as thou wilt complex. They don't want to do what's right. And a lot of times y'all are not scary enough. It takes a man and a woman to successfully bring a household to front. It just takes that. Not a woman by herself. And statistics show that even if just the man is there, the children still turn out fine, better than it just being a woman there. And this government know what they're doing, y'all. They understand that they are destroying these families with Section 8, with WIC, with all these things that we think are a good thing, because that man should be there in that household. And people don't say, well, how Section 8 destroy house? Section 8 has destroyed a lot of households because it's made sure that woman don't need him for paying no bills. I don't need you. I don't need no man to take care of me. You don't need a man to take care of you because you're on Section 8. You don't need a man to take care of you because you're getting food stamps. What are the two biggest important necessities every month that we have? Rent or mortgage or your food bill. Those are the two biggest necessities that people are responsible for. So when the government took both of those things out of the way, that's what gave a woman that attitude. I pay my own bills. No, you don't. You don't pay your own bills. The government pays your bill. And you just forgotten about it because you haven't paid any real rent in forever. A lot of these women, and it's not everybody that's on Section 8, but it is a lot of these things that are happening, and we don't understand the residual effects of them. We don't understand how damaging they are when it comes to these children, right? We don't get it. And now I'm going to tell you something too, Gabar. It's even harder because in the last, 2 years, rent has gone up everywhere.
Oh, man.
Rent has gone up everywhere. And so now it's even harder to have a mortgage or to get a home or to have certain things. It's made it really hard. So now a lot of women are more disrespectful. They're more disrespectful because they relying on the things that they have. There are no programs for men that have children. There are very few, if none, programs that will help a man that is taking care of the children by himself. Very few. Women got all the programs, which is fine. You don't find us complaining about it, but I see an agenda there. I see something going on there. And so this scripture is telling us that it says children are their oppressors and women rule over them. And it says, oh, my people, which lead thee to cause thee to what? To error, because those things make us error, right? And then it says to error, to destroy the way of thy path. What is the way of our path? We're supposed to be learning how to keep God's law, statutes, and commandments, and we're supposed to be learning the order of a family. Man, the Most High, Christ, man, woman.
Child.
They don't go side by side. You are never over that man. If you're in a relationship, women, if you're in a relationship where you are the head over that man, you're in the wrong relationship. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. If you guys are equal the way you see it, it's not going to last because you with a weak man or an effeminate man. And I ain't talking about him walking around with a broke list or walking around switching. I'm talking about a man who doesn't know his place as a man. If you say you're equal to that man, or if you're over him, you mark my words, that's not a godly relationship. It's not a godly relationship. Now, is he supposed to be gorilla over you and telling you certain things? No. But is he supposed to take authority and make strong decisions in the house and tell you, look, this is right, this is wrong, this is the direction we're going to go in? That's what that man is supposed to do. You're supposed to let a man be a man, period. Read the next verse.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 13. The Lord standeth up to plead and standeth to judge the people.
What does it mean when it said the Lord standing up to plead? The Lord standing up to plead, he's already told us what he needs us to do. The Lord has already told us what we should do. It's in the law. The Bible tells us already what the righteousness is, what the path is. He gave us in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1, 2, 3, and 4. He tells us the order, right? He tells us the duties of a man and a woman in Ephesians chapter 5. He tells us the duties that a woman should have or how a woman should behave in First Timothy, right? And 2 Timothy, right? Watch this. Keep reading. Watch this.
Verse 14. The Lord will enter into judgment with the ancients of his people and the princes thereof, for ye have eaten up the vineyard. The spoil of the poor is in your houses.
The spoil of the poor is in your house. You have eaten up the vineyard. What is the vineyard? The vineyard is what we have as the law, statutes, and commandments. We already know what to do. Keep reading.
Verse 15. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces and grind the faces of the poor, saith the Lord God of hosts?
So the people that are around us, we've gotten so much, y'all. We've gotten so much from these people, and the Bible tells us that a gift destroys the heart. Once you receive a gift from somebody, you have to watch out because it can destroy you. It can make you more biased towards them. The women that are today are more biased towards this government. We see the government as wicked, but they can't see it that way because they're getting too many gifts from the government. They're getting too many handouts from the government. When everybody received that check for $1,400 right before COVID, then you received another check for $1,400. And I know people who personally received it, and they getting that every time it come out. They go, yeah, I'm finna get my money. We cannot see it as evil if you're receiving benefits from it. It's very hard to be rebuked of something that you can't find any fault with. Very hard. If you can't find no fault with it, how can I make you see it as evil? Right. I can't make you see it as evil if you're not finding no fault with what I'm telling you. I could say all type of wicked things about this government all I want to, but if the Most High don't cut that light on in your mind and you can't see this government as evil, you're gonna be like, I don't know what he's talking about. He just saying some words, them just words. And you'll see me pull scriptures every now and again, and the scriptures will make sense, right? But you're not gonna really feel nothing because you're receiving benefits from this government. So it doesn't mean anything to you. Now watch this. This is something for us that we knew that was going to happen to our women. Go to 2 Timothy chapter 3 in verse 1. We're going to start from the top. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1. We're going to start it from the top. Watch this.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come.
We're going to have perilous times coming. Listen, y'all.
For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. A lot of women ruling these households are spawning men like this to come out to be like this. Now watch this. Keep reading. Verse 3. Without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. What makes people act like this? When you have people that are false accusers, now you know most women are, when they're in sin, they become false accusers. Okay, a lot of our women become false accusers. When it says truth breakers are those who enter into a marriage that's not working out like you want to. Boom, you want a divorce. That's being a truth breaker. Because somebody's telling you something you need to hear, or you need to adhere to something, or somebody changes up the order and say, look, we're going to do it like this. And then you say, well, forget it. I just want a divorce. That's being a truth breaker. You cannot be a truth. If you don't have a good reason and then everybody say, well, we divorced because we have irreconcilable differences.
that was not part of the deal. But right now we understand people are going to be there because they're going to have pride on them. They're going to blaspheme. It says disobedient to parents, meaning you don't want to listen to anything or righteous talk of anybody. Now watch this. Read the next verse. Watch this.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 4. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God.
You know, a lot of people love pleasure more than God. That shows the incontinence of our women. Most of them love pleasures more than God. If you give them some money, they'll do what you say. If you make them feel good in a certain way, they'll do what you say. If you can control their body, they'll do what you say. You understand that? They give in to their pleasures rather than God, rather than their morals. Your moral compass should your moral compass should be over your personal pleasures. You should want to have a moralness, and that's something that's lost, it's dissipated, it's gone. Nobody has it, and nobody knows where it is, right? And we have to get back to that. But the scripture is speaking on all of the traits that are going to contribute to a broken household, to a broken foundation in our women today. Now watch this. Keep reading.
2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such, turn away.
What is a form of godliness? But what is a form of godliness, but not denying God? A form of having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. When women go to church on Sundays, when women try to even come into the truth, and they get corrected in the truth and don't want to hear it, that's a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. So when I point out a sin that you're doing, and you say, "Well, no, I don't," you move the goalpost. I point out something you're doing and you don't like it, and then you move the goalpost. That's denying the power thereof. And that's what a lot of, am I wrong about that? No. A lot of our women move the goalpost when they don't want to hear what you're trying to tell them. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong, brother?
Yeah.
Read on.
Yeah. Verse 6. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. It
says silly women are going to be the victim of these things, and these traits that you just read are the traits of these silly women, right? These are the traits that you can spot, these silly women. Read on.
Verse 7. Ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
Because I got my own relationship with God. I got my own relationship with God. You can't tell me nothing because God loved me, and I know God loved me. But you just got through fornicating last night with a man that you're not married to. You just got through accepting a man coming into your house to sleep with your 18-year-old daughter, your 20-year-old daughter. She got 3 kids, and now she's taking a cycle on that you took on at that age, and you accepted because you did the same thing at her age, and so now it's normal behavior. That's a mistress woman, that's a mistress woman, ladies and gentlemen. You've sinned your whole life. Now it seems okay. It's cool. And now you're passing that same bad behavior down to your daughter. Now you're a grandmother at 41, 42, 43 years old, and the cycle continues, and you're not married, right? You're not married, right? And you still condone bad behavior because you did it and nobody corrected you on your behavior. Right. Does that sound familiar, brother?
That's it, right?
Does that sound like something that's a very common thing today?
Yes, sir.
That's very common today, isn't it? Is it not?
That's
the norm today of these women condoning and supporting and pushing on this bad behavior. And it's got to stop. If you want the kingdom, this behavior has to stop. Read on.
Verse 8. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 8. Now, Janice,
you know what? That's all I got. That's all I want on that. That's perfect. Now watch this. I want you to go to Proverbs chapter 7 and verse 6. The book of Proverbs chapter 7 and verse 6. And this is for those ones who say, it don't matter what I got on. The Lord loves me anyway, and my relationship is not contingent on what I have on. I can walk out the house with whatever I have on. Can you now? Let's see if that's true. Let's see if what you're saying or what you believe in is true or not. Read on.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 7, verse 6.
Read on.
No, excuse me, Salaki. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement and beheld among the simple ones I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding.
Stop right there. Stop right there. It says a young man void of understanding. Now, do you know that a lot of these women prey on men who don't even understand? Now, it ain't even that they prey on them. This is all they know. It says a young man void of understanding because they raise men that are void of understanding, and the man that they choose to deal with are also void of understanding. And that's what they count on if they want to stay in the same lifestyle of sin that they've been in. Now watch this. Watch how cold the Most High is.
Verse 8, passing through the streets near her corner, and he went the way to her house. In the twinkling in the evening, in the black and dark night, and behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtle of heart.
Now you see that? It says there it met him a woman with the attire of a harlot and subtile and heart. What does that mean? That means a crafty speaking woman, a woman who can talk you out of your drawers, a woman who could talk you out of your money, but a woman that had the attire of a harlot. So this is a woman who's living a sinful life and she's dressed like a harlot. Now let's see what type of woman she is. Read on.
Proverbs chapter 7, verse 11. She is loud.
She is what?
Stubborn. She is loud and stubborn.
Read.
Her feet abide not in her house.
You see that? It says she's loud and stubborn. How many people know women like this? How many people got aunts, even mothers, cousins, sisters like this that are loud and stubborn, and they think they know everything, and all the twisting of the head, and you can't tell me nothing. That's the same exact spirit that we're dealing with today. We're dealing with that spirit today. She's loud and she is stubborn. Read on.
Proverbs 7 and 11. She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner.
When it says now that she's without the law, statutes, and commandments of God. She's without guidance. She's without a covering. There is no man there to cover her. Every woman, I don't care if y'all know this or not, but y'all gonna know it today. Every woman needs a covering. I'm gonna say it again. Every woman needs a covering. You cannot do this on your own. If you don't have a husband, you need to be around somebody who's giving you the right type of guidance. Everybody needs a covering. You don't get to do this on your own and have your own personal relationship if you don't have a covering. But that's what you were not taught at church. And if you look into your pastor, your deacon at that Christian church to be your covering, you in trouble because he's not no covering. He might want to put you under cover. He might want to do that, but he's not no covering. Right? Because we know how whorish these deacons are. We know how whorish these deacons are. You know, every church that I've been to, churches with scandals in them that had scandals, right? And nobody wanted to address it. There's something going on in the church, but nobody wants to address it because it would rock the foundation of the church, and it would kill the Sunday dinners and cookouts that we have. So nobody wants to discuss the whorish behavior that's going on in churches. We ignore it. We turn a blind eye. But go ahead.
Verse 13. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day have I prayed my vows.
You see that? That we make vows or false vows with each other, and it says she caught him and kissed him. And a lot of us men have been enticed by women, have been enticed by menstruous women, have been enticed by women who don't want no type of dealings with us but to jump in the bed because they don't have any respect for themselves, right? We've had that. I've had that happen in the truth, where women try to come at me. that's supposed to be in the truth, but they come at me with those type of intentions. And you think here it is, you think it's supposed to be the men that's supposed to be coming at the women. No, a lot of times it's the women that's coming at these men, trying to get these men to go out secretly and do stuff. I have experienced it myself. Right? What are we at?
Verse 15.
Read. Oh, no. That's you know what? I got to 19. I was gonna read it until 19, but we're gonna jump down and we're gonna go to Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 29. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 29. We're gonna get that.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 19, verse 29.
Read.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness.
You see that? Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a what?
To be a whore.
To be a what?
To be a whore.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore. And it says, lest the land fall to whoredom. That's where we have failed. We failed to whoredom because a lot of us prostitute, a lot of our women, they prostitute their daughters. That's what you call a whore in training. A whore in training. Because the way that you grow up is the same way that is the same conditions that you accept. And so the cycle continues. The cycle continues. And we have to get out of that because the Bible told us these things are going to happen. This is what is going to happen. But these are scriptures in the Bible that the Christian church don't want to read. They don't want to. They'll keep you out of the Old Testament, out of the Apocrypha, and they barely will read things in the New Testament if it goes against what they believe in. They'll barely read that. Now watch this.
Read that.
They'll barely read that in the New Testament. It doesn't even matter. Go to Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 22. Jeremiah 31 and 22. Yeah, we don't want to anything that's got correction in it. We don't want it because if you read it, you know you're going to have to adhere to it. If you read it, it's going to get in your soul. If you read it, it's like, oh man, I don't have plausible deniability. I've read it. Now I have to do it or don't do it. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
You see that? He said, how long are you going to sin? It says, oh, backsliding daughter, right? It says a woman shall compass a man. Meaning a woman, the word compass means to surround, right? She's going to compass us. She's going to be on the forefront. A man is not going to be the head of the household anymore. Most of the household in so-called Black America, we're not the head of the households no more. So this is a prophecy that came true. They go to the women first. A lot of times the enemy wants to negotiate with the woman. He'll bypass us as men and he'll talk to the women before he talked to us. Now, what other culture does that? What other culture does that happen in other than Black America? Right? I will come up and find some strange dude at the door and he just chatting away. When other cultures, if it's an Arab man, that person is the man of the house home. If it's a Japanese man, is the man of the house home? That Chinese man is the man of the house home? Even in white culture, even though they're more loose than a lot of other cultures, but it's still a protocol there. They understand the protocol, right? But if it's a Black people, oh, I'm gonna deal with this woman first because I can talk to her. She easier to manipulate, right? She easier to manipulate. So that's what's going on.
And
with
you know what's
us.
funny?
Go ahead.
So, when you talked about the woman compassing the man and they're dealing with this woman first.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sister. Her name is Shahrazad Ali. If y'all ever look her up, she's this very topic that we're talking about. Before y'all ever heard of Kevin Samuel, Shahrazad Ali was giving sisters the truth back in the 80s and
I
the 90s.
know her.
You
I
know
listened
what
to
I'm
her.
talking about,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. She was
And
telling
one thing she said, see, black women have been given an authority that does not belong to them and that they did not earn.
That's right.
Because in every other nationality, their man is the backbone of their society. Only in the black so-called black community is it said that the black woman is the backbone of the society.
Yeah.
And she was saying how it's funny that you brought up WIC and Section 8 and all that. And she was saying how understand that these things, WIC in itself, brought to you by who? The Black Panthers.
Yep.
That was black men.
Yep.
Who thought of that? Who put that together? For who? The black community.
Yep.
When the government saw it and they could subsidize it, then it was like, okay, you have to not have a man, or you have to have a really weak man,
yep,
or a man who's not going to do anything, who's not going to take responsibility, who's not going to try to take care of you.
That's
for you
right.
to get WIC. Oh, you want affordable housing? Okay, you got to make sure there's no man there.
That's right.
And at that time, understand that when they came out with these things, this is what 1960s, 1970s. Shahrazad Ali says, the so-called black community, the so-called black woman, the so-called black man, we didn't have no problem with each other. Our problem was the white people and their establishment.
That's
and
right.
Because they couldn't get the women's liberation movement couldn't get the movement that it needed who? It needed a black woman in there for them to say, oh, okay, we know how to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did that, kick the black man out the house. So now you can have affordable housing. So now if he want to come stay with you, if he want to come spend the night, if he want to be part of the family, what he got to do? He got to now submit to the woman for him to be in that household.
That's right. That's right.
So that was an immediate breakdown of I'm not even going to say the nation. I'm going to go on a smaller scale, and that was an immediate breakdown of the black family unit.
That's right. That was the meat. And just to add what you're saying, because I know it's some of y'all out there. Saying, well, I got Section 8, and that's not how they do it today. The man could be in the house today. Let me show y'all something. Every year, when y'all go to re-up, because you have to go every year. You got to go over there in Dallas, over here off of Fish Trap. I know, because I was on Section 8 for years. You got to go up there. When you re-up and do Section 8, there has to be a primary on it. Y'all don't do it together. It's one person that has to. Now, he may have a name on there. He could put his kids on there. You put your kids on there. But there has to be a primary on that account. Now, that's her voucher. The voucher could be held by what? One person. They didn't have to say the man doesn't have to be in it. The person who holds the voucher is the claimer of the Section 8. Meaning, if y'all live in a house and if it's under Shaquanda, that's Shaquanda's Section 8. It ain't Leroy's, it's Shaquanda. So if anything goes wrong, what does she say? Get the hell out of my house. Get out of my house. So it's showing you that they know how black women think. So now that's never Leroy's or John's or Stedman, whoever, right? That's not Stedman's Section 8. It belongs to Oprah. Right. Just to make y'all understand more clearly that you don't get to have it together. I was on Section 8 for many years. And I never understood the damage that it did to my family until later on. It did a lot of damage. Why? Because when I should have been saving up my money to buy my own house, I was dependent on her. And so now that man, because he might get kicked out or something happen, she's not going to listen to him because he's not paying the bills. You might be coming together paying the running bills, but you're not paying the mortgage or the rent. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. When to give you guys an understanding, when I got remarried, right? And me and my wife bought a new vehicle. She needed a vehicle. She needed one, and her son wanted to drive the car. He wanted to drive her car, and she was like, "Look, no, you know, and he got upset and he was like, well, mama, you know, I ain't gonna mess up the car. And my wife was like, look, Shi'yah pays the bill on it. I have to, and he's not comfortable with you driving this car, right? And it wasn't anything I had against anybody. I just wasn't comfortable with it. You see that? You see how the dynamic changes when it's somebody she was like, well, no, I can't go against. She understood the protocol because it was done correctly, right? But just think if I'm in a situation where I'm in a home where somebody else owns and I'm not paying my own rent, or if we're having a vehicle and say we both have a vehicle that we're not paying the note on, right? And we're subservient to another person, the dynamic changes. And that's the part that y'all don't understand. If you're not paying the cost to be the boss, so to speak, right? The dynamic changes. You don't get the same thing. It's not the same things. And that's the part that we on Section 8 and we doing just fine, and me and Tyrone getting along. Okay, you and Tyrone get along for now. You and Tyrone getting along for now. But wait until the dynamic change and he tells you something that you don't want to do or that you disagree with, and the voucher belongs to you. Dynamics going to change. I promise you. What did they say? I promise you.
So if y'all, the sister that me and Shi'yah talking about, if y'all ever want to get some of that, her name is Shahrazad Ali. She got 2 wonderful books. They were written in the 80s, but it is very, man, what this brother's class is about right now, she put it in book form in 80 something. Okay.
Right.
It's called The Black Woman's Guide. Listen to the name, y'all. The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. Shahrazad Ali. And she is telling our sisters, look, these are the things we don't know. We don't let that man lead. We'll listen to the white boss. We'll listen to the white bus driver. We'll listen to everybody else. We listen to everybody else, man, but our own. She giving it to y'all.
Yep.
And she's not shaming anyone. She's saying that these are the things that as the women of this nation, we need to fix. Check her out.
Yep. And that's that woman, and my brother's right. That woman she's saying something. She's saying something. And it's important that you women start listening to what the scriptures say and applying it, because you guys, listen, you guys are up under the man, but y'all have a very important job. Y'all are a great influence on these children at a young age. The man gives structure. The woman gives nurture. You guys are the nurturers of these kids when they're coming out. Y'all are helping to shape the minds of these young men and these young women, right? Now watch this. Go to Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 44. Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 44. Because there's nothing that we can do apart from each other that's going to help each other. We have to do this thing together, but we have to do this thing in righteousness. Y'all understand that? We got to be righteous and show righteousness towards each other, and these children got to see it. Watch this. Go ahead.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, and you said 43?
44.
44. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 44. Behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter.
It says, everyone that uses proverbs, that's a wise saying, they're going to use this proverbs. As is the mother, so is the daughter. So that funky attitude that woman will have with her man is the same funky attitude that's going to be exhibited with that daughter towards her man. However you treat that your baby daddy, ex-husband, or your current husband, the young woman is watching you, and she's paying attention on how you conduct yourself. And she's going to conduct herself later on in life much the same way. It's the same way. That is a proverb or a wise saying. As is the mother, so is the daughter. So the only way you can clean up that situation with that daughter is you're going to have to start making a change in yourself before it's too late. You're going to have to make a change with yourself. You're going to have to say, you know what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, because the Most High has already given us prophecy right here, telling us that if you don't change, that daughter, you're going to keep the same cycle going, and you're not going to break no cycle. And she probably going to be worse than you, because that's how we do. We find amazing ways to defile ourselves. We find amazing ways. If the mama did bad and has some promiscuous ways, you ever notice the daughter breaks the record? You ever notice if all that daughter grew up seeing was her mother being a little bit of a hoe, that the daughter, she's like, well, she ain't, hold up, y'all. Yeah, she ain't did nothing yet. Let me show you. Move out there. Let me show you what I can do.
Hey, what do you say?
Everything you can do, I can do.
Hold my drink. Hold my drink. Let me show y'all how to do
it. Exactly. I'm gonna show y'all how to be your hoe. I'm gonna show y'all how to do it. If y'all notice,
right,
the generation that comes up after, because think about it. Look at the grandmothers, and then look at the mothers. I'm talking about the grandmothers that were not righteous, right? That was promiscuous, and then the mama came up and she was worse than the grandmama, right? And then the mama did what she did, and then she had a daughter, and then she come up and the daughter is just all the way gone. Just all the way gone. And it happened. Y'all can't tell me nothing. I've been seeing this. I got family members. I got people that I grew up around, and I've seen generations. I've seen where the grandmama was not right, and then she had a daughter and she's not right. And then my generation come along and still not right. And then the same people I've seen 4, 5, 6 generations, at least 5 generations, and everybody ain't right. And each generation outdoes the other one. I promise you. No, watch this. Go to Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16. I promise you. Now watch this. And he's showing us, the Most High is showing us that if this behavior continues, he's showing us what's going to be in store for us. He's showing us this. Chapter 3, verse 16 of the book of Isaiah. Watch this.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 16. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet.
You see that? It says because they're haughty. Go ahead.
Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts.
Y'all see that? So the women are haughty. We know who that is, and we know who that's talking about. He said, but I'm going to smite the women of Zion with a scab on the crown of their head. A lot of our women, the first thing that my wife told me when we first started dating, because this is something common with Black women, and I was checking her out, right? And my wife said, well, yeah, we was talking, right? And she said, yeah, I got all my edges. I said, what? She said, I ain't missing no edges. I ain't missing my edges are there. They all there. And she felt like she had to tell me that, because that is a common problem with our women of Zion, right? We're getting them perms with just hair breaking off and stuff like that. That is a sign of knowing who you are. That is a sign, y'all. Read on.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 18. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet, and their cauls, and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets,
what does that mean?
And the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings.
Y'all know what? That's talking about it says the tires. Our women are they're gonna be dressed in such a way, they're gonna have that fupa right there. They're not gonna care about it. They're gonna have all the different ornaments, but they're gonna be in the dust. They're gonna be at a lower state. You tell me you don't see that every day, brother. Tell me you don't walk into a grocery store or Walmart and see these things every day.
Every day.
These are things that we see. This is actually describing the state of our women today, right here in the scripture, right? Now watch this. Keep reading.
Verse 21. The rings and nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the wimples, and the crisping pins, the glasses and the fine linen, and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of a
there should be
girdle,
what?
a rent. Instead of a sweet smell,
There should be what?
There shall be stink.
There shall be what?
There shall be stink. Or wait, let me say it right. It's gonna stink.
There you go.
It's
Instead of a
stink.
sweet smell, there's gonna be stank. That's a sign showing you who he's talking about. And you know what he's talking about. I don't even got to go into detail about that because you know what he's talking about. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of a girdle, a rent. And instead of well-set hair, baldness. And instead of a stomacher, a girdling of sackcloth. And burning instead of beauty.
It says you're going to burn with these perms you putting in your head. He said you're going to have a rent. We're going to see your stomach. And it says you're going to be stinking. And he says that instead of well-set hair, what did he say? Burning, and a girdle, a stomacher. All these things are very prevalent with our women today. These are signs letting us know who these people are. These are our women. These are daughters of Sarah that have transgressed the laws and that have backslid all the way back, y'all. These are menstruous women. These are menstruous women that have no shame, no respect for self. How do we get that back? How do we come back to that? Well, we have to come back to that. We have to come back to that. And I'm going to give you something. I want to give you one more, and then we're going to go into something. We're going to go into something a little bit more. Go to Isaiah 51 and 20. Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 20. Did you have anything to add to that, brother?
No,
Isaiah 51 and 20. Now watch this.
The book of Isaiah chapter 51 verse 20. Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets as a wild bull in a net. They are full of the fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy God.
You know what? Why are our boys running around like wild bulls? Why do you see so many boys walking around with their pants sagging off their butts? Why do you see our young men looking like they don't give a damn? Why? Feminine energy. Our young men have a lot of feminine energy. And they don't even see it as feminine energy because they thinking that they hard. But all of those young men with a problem, and you see them on the street corner, if you ask 99% of them, who raised you? They're going to tell you that their mother or their grandmother raised them, right? And they think that they're hard, but they got all this feminine energy that they don't know what to do with. Because if a man raised you, a man teaches you how to control your actions, how to control the way you feel. If you raised by a man instead of a woman, that man teaches you how to be stoic, how not to say nothing whenever you're upset, how to control your attitude, how to control the things that you say, to watch your mouth, or how to function with other men. We're in a society that these young men, they don't even know how to function with another man. They don't even know how to carry a conversation with another man. These are men who are raised by menstruous women. These are men who are raised by their mothers. And I know it, and it's so prevalent that I've learned how to talk to young men that come into my barbershop. We talk to them in the midst of them getting like haircuts, and they're waiting for haircuts. And they actually kind of talk to me. They open up to me, and you could tell these men they don't have a man at home. Either their fathers are dead or in prison or just not around. Those are the type of young men that come in that come into, not all, but most of them that come into my barbershop, and we have these conversations. And they have a very difficult time socializing with what I refer to as real men or a person of authority that is a male. They want to talk to the woman. They're more comfortable talking to women, right? And they're taught not to say a lot of words, let the mama speak for them. They don't even know how to function. And some of them don't even know how to get a haircut. Some of them don't know how to explain. The woman come in and she explained to them, I want his hair like this, like that. The dude don't say too much.
Yeah, I've seen it.
He might say a little bit here and there. And he can't function. And we're talking about kids that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old. Some of them 22-year-old. Don't even know how to function when it comes to having a simple conversation with a man on how to get a haircut. Happens all the time, y'all. Y'all think it's not this is a serious problem. It's very serious. I want you to read verse 21 for me.
Isaiah chapter 51, verse 21. Therefore, hear now
Watch this.
Thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine.
Stop right there. It says, thou afflicted and drunken, but not with wine. What is that talking about?
Right. There you go.
They're drunken, but not with wine. They're drunken on the philosophies of the woman that raised them. They're drunken because they have a belief or an ideology on life that does not apply to life. A woman raising you out of her emotions, out of her feelings, you tend to take on the same tendencies. A lot of these people are drunk, but not with wine. You drunk on how the hell you feel. That's the philosophy that you drunk on. You drunk on how you feel. Because if I feel it, it must be right. It must be true. Your father teaches a man not to go with his every emotion. That's what a real man teaches his father. But a woman does what? Most women are governed by what? By how they feel.
Yeah.
They're governed by their emotions. So then what do we get? We get a lot of effeminate men with this effeminate energy. And they don't know how to function with other men. And they think, well, we just fight. You think fighting is going to solve your problems because you can't function with other men in a civilized way. And you don't know how to talk. Now watch this. Go to Numbers chapter 27 and verse 15. We're going to show you what you're supposed to be doing. We're going to show you the role of a man, the role of a real man, how he is supposed to function.
Numbers chapter 27, verse 15. And Moses spake unto the Lord, saying, let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
Set a what?
Let the Lord, the God of the spirits of all flesh, set a man over the congregation.
It's going to be a man that's going to make right with that boy. It's going to be a man to make right with that family. Right? Now look at the duties. He said this, but after this, the next precept shows you the duties of that man. Read on.
Verse 17. Which may go out before them, and which may go in before them, and which may lead them out, and which may bring them in, that the congregation of the Lord be not as sheep which have no shepherd.
So it says it's going to go out before them. The man is going to lead out before them. The man is going to bring in before. Did it say a woman? Did it say a woman?
It says the man which may go out before them and may go in before them.
So that's a man controlling the tempo. He's going out. He's telling them to go in. He's the one who's controlling the tempo. If you have anything other than this in your life, you're not having a correct order. You're not in correct order with the Lord. It can't be no woman standing up and leading the church and telling these men and women in the congregation, well, the Lord told me to tell y'all this. What the God that you're serving, I don't want no parts of. Because the Bible tells you how a woman is supposed to behave in the congregation. That's what the Bible tells you to do. It tells us how to behave, or how a woman should behave in the congregation. Let's get it. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 34, if I'm not mistaken. 1 Corinthians chapter 14.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 34. Let your women keep silence in the churches, for it
Matter
is
of
not
fact, start
permitted.
at 33. Start at verse 33.
1 Corinthians 14 and 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Let your
So
women,
God is the author of peace. Go ahead.
let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law.
So a lot of times when women hear this scripture, they're done. A woman to hear that scripture where it says, let the woman be silent in the churches, it's not permitted for them to speak, for the law says that they're not supposed to speak. The woman that is the mainstream Christian today, she ain't trying to hear that. And if she, and you know what, and even when she ain't trying to hear it, she said, well, that's what they had for those women back then because the church was out of order then that's why Paul said that for the women then. No, he's saying that for the women now. Now, today, in 2023, he's talking to our women today because women have never been out of order more so than they were then than they are now. At least at this time, these women were dressed correctly.
Right.
They wasn't walking up in the congregation dressed like whores. These women now, this scriptures, it means more today than it did back then because the church has fallen from grace. We're falling away from the Lord. So this scripture is more valid, if anything, today. Now watch this. Keep reading.
1 Corinthians 14 and 35. And if they will learn
Read.
anything, let them ask their husbands at home, as if it a shame for a woman to speak in the church.
He says, for it is a shame for a woman to speak in the church. If they are to learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. You see how he's establishing order right there? You see how he's telling you, you need to learn from your husband. Y'all need to come together and seek the Most High together. But don't be asking a man questions in front of the congregation, embarrassing your husband, right? Making it be something that it's not, or asking too many questions. It's okay to ask questions, but he's telling you not to do that in the congregation. That's order. That's order. Keep reading.
Verse 36. What? Came the word of God out from you, or came it unto you only?
Read on.
If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge that the things that I write unto you are the commandments of the Lord.
You see that? If you think that you're a prophet or you're spiritual, you need to acknowledge that these are the commandments of the Lord. If you say you're a prophet or you say you're a prophetess or whatever, and you're spiritual, you need to follow this guideline. You need to be listening to what Paul is telling you to do here. If not, you just need to get rid of the book. Just tear the whole New Testament out because he wrote 80% of it. So just tear it out and just go by, just make up your own thing. Because certain things that you hear, you may not like them, but they say what they say, right? Now watch this. Now he's going to solidify it in this next verse. Because if you don't want to hear it, he has something here for those of you who don't want to hear this. Read.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 38. But if any man be ignorant, let him be ignorant.
No, argue with him.
Let him be ignorant.
No. Explain to him what he need to do.
Let him be ignorant.
If anybody's ignorant, Paul said, let him be ignorant. I told you what it was. And this is why he put it here, because he knew there are going to be some people who are not going to accept what he said in verses 34 and verses 35. He knew that there was going to be people who don't want to accept it. He said, but if any man wants to be ignorant, let him be ignorant. Read the next verse.
Verse 39. Wherefore, brethren, covet to prophesy and forbid not to speak with tongues. Let all things be done decently and in order.
He said, covet to prophecy and forbid not to speak in tongues. When you covet to prophecy, when you covet into prophecy, you're holding close to things that you learned in the Bible. In the Old Testament, that's where the prophecy is. If there is not, in the Old Testament is where the prophecy is. So you need to understand, you need to covet to prophecy, because prophecy are things that must be fulfilled. Right? Prophecy is future sayings. So you have to, he's telling you to covet to. Did I get that wrong, brother? Did he tell me to just kind of wing it? Or did he tell you to covet to prophecy?
Covet to prophecy.
He said covet to prophecy. If I covet to prophecy, I'm holding close to what you're telling me. When you go to Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 8, it says, and it shall come to pass in the time of the king's, the king's sacrifice, that he shall punish the princes and the king's children and all such that are clothed in strange apparel. That's Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 8. So he's telling you, before the Most High send his son back, you got to get right. You got to get right. You cannot get the kingdom, right, by doing what you want to do. You can't. You can't do it. Go to 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 16. Can't do it by how you feel. It's not, your feelings are not going to get you the kingdom, my sisters. Your feelings won't get you there. You have to listen and be obedient to what the Most High is telling you to get the kingdom. But go ahead.
1 Peter chapter 4, verse 16. Yet, if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf.
Now watch this. You got to suffer as a Christian, but we don't want no suffering. We don't want any type of suffering. A woman does not want, especially a menstruous woman or unclean woman, don't want to go through nothing, because she's going to be drunk on her own stuff. She's going to be drunk on how she feels. She's going to be drunk on her own philosophies. So we don't want to covet to the prophecy, and we don't want to listen. He said, you're going to suffer, but he said, suffer on this behalf. Watch this. Read the next verse.
1 Peter 4 and 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. And if it is first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God?
He said, if he's saying that judgment must begin at the house of God, Israel is the house of God. We are the house of God. We're the ones that judgment comes to first. So all our women have to get, if you're going to get the kingdom, you got to get in order first. Because where is judgment coming to first? The Bible says it begins where? At the house of God, meaning with the Israelites. That's why you see our people in the conditions that they're in. That's why you see these houses broken like they are, because God has put judgment on us. The only way to get out of that is to get yourself together. Women, put some clothes on. Men, start being husbands to your wives. Children, get your butts in order. If your parents tell you to do something, do it. If your father is not living in the house and he gives you an order, you need to listen to him. Because these women that are raising these kids without the father in the house, a lot of them feel like they don't even have to listen to nothing that man say, because he's not there. Because his word is weak as water. And that's one of the symptoms of a broken home. A child feeling like they have leisure to listen to their father or not. It's the woman, and y'all are the problem. Women, if you don't enforce the things that your father say, that your baby daddy say to the kids, you part of the problem. Yeah, I said it. You're part of the problem. Well, he ain't here. It's a reason why that man is not there. It's a reason why he's not there. No man is going to be in a household where he's disrespected. No man is going to be in a household that the children don't respect him. It's not going to happen. Any real man won't put up with that. So guess what the solution is to most men? Sayonara.
Don't get on. Yep.
Sayonara. You and the child. That sounds harsh, don't it? But that's the solution to with us men. And when you disrespect the man, he's not gonna deal with the child or the mother. Well, now you need to fight. You need to fight for your son. Who the hell told you that a man has to fight? I need to know. I need to know. Who the hell told you that a man is supposed to fight for his child? A man shouldn't have to fight. A man, either you're going to let me be a father or you're not. Either you're going to let me be a father or you're not. And in most of these menstruous women's cases, they say no, because you're not doing it the way I want you. You talking too rough to him. She need to go to cheerleading practice instead of staying with you for the weekend. Really? So extracurricular sports is more important than you spending time with your father?
Right. Right.
Who does that? Black women. Black women. And these are the problems, y'all, that we're dealing with. I'm addressing this today because it's gone on for too long. And these are very, very horrible things that are happening in our community. These are horrible things that most people don't want to address because there's a narrative sown of every father not being there. There's a narrative sown that every father don't want to be there. I'm going to say this. Gabar, I'm going to go ahead and say it. 80% of these women who have these children in these households, 80% of them fathers would be there. If it wasn't for the attitude of that woman, they'd be there for these kids.
I've seen that. I've seen that. Yeah. Yeah.
80% by and large would be there if it wasn't for these women. Mm-hmm. These women are keeping these men away. You see the situation with Kirk Franklin? Did y'all read about Kirk Franklin's situation with Kirk Franklin? No. His mama told him this one dude was his daddy, right? And so the dude that he thought was his daddy, he died and he had hatred for this guy, right? And he died and he made peace with it, but then he took a DNA test. Nigga that lived right down the street from Kirk Franklin is his daddy.
It's his real
then he ended up taking another DNA test because he went to the mama. The mama said, "No, that ain't your daddy. The DNA test is wrong." So he went and took another DNA test, and the mama said that was wrong. He was like, "Wait a minute, mama. That ain't no way this could be two DNA tests wrong, right?" So the mother didn't want to take no accountability. She tried to lie her way out of it and this woman had no remorse. She tried to cry her way. Once she got caught up in it, she tried to cry her way. So for 53 years, the man that he thought was his biological daddy that's dead and gone was not his daddy. The man lived across the street from his relative his whole life. And he didn't even know it. But the woman started crying her way out of it, didn't want to take accountability for her action. How many women do we got to do that today?
Damn.
Listen, I'm not even trying to be mean, and I know I'm gonna catch some backflash for what I'm saying right now, but I'm just trying to be real. I got women in my family that's done that. Yeah, I said it. I got women in my family that's done that. I had a situation, and I won't say no names, but I'm gonna tell the damn story. But I had a situation in my family where the son thought somebody else was his daddy, and I told the daddy that he wasn't the daddy because she was treating him badly. The person closest to me was treating him badly. And I told him, that's not your son. And it came out that wasn't his son, but she was treating him badly. And she stopped speaking to me for years. But think about, was I wrong? Because I told this man that this woman was torturing and using the child as a pawn against him.
Of course.
That he was actually not the biological father, but it was another man that was the biological father. But she was torturing the man because he just wanted to be part of the child life. And I told the man, I said, look, that's not even your son. So and so and so is your son. I did that. Was I wrong?
No.
You be the judge. It was what it was. It was what it was. And it happens all the time, y'all. This is a very prevalent thing.
Yeah.
It happens too much.
It's to
the point I had to make
the norm. It's the norm now.
This is the behavior.
Yeah.
And it's accepted by everybody. It's accepted. They don't want to look. I don't want to get into her business. I know she's wrong, but I don't want to get into her business because I don't want to argue with her. That's what the mama would say, or the auntie would say. That's what would happen. Now watch this. I want you to go to, this is the last scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter, I think it's chapter 2 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse, hold on. Chapter 14 and verse 13. I had another one in 2 Corinthians, but I want to go there because I think that's a better one. That's a better one. 14 and 13, 2 Corinthians, that's the last. 14 and 13 of the book of, second Esdras in the Apocrypha. I apologize. In the Apocrypha, go to your Apocrypha and go to 2 Esdras, chapter 14 and verse 13.
The book of 2 Esdras, chapter 14, verse 13. Now, therefore, set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble. And now, renounce corruption.
Stop right there. It tells you to set your house in order. Now stop me if I'm wrong. It's going to take a lot of work to set your house in order. You're going to make people mad. You're going to fall off of friendships. You're going to fall off of relationships with people that you love. He says, set thy house. It says, therefore set thine house in order. It says, reprove thy people. What is reproof, brother? What is reproof?
Correct
them. What if they doing something wrong and you embarrassed to talk about it?
Correct them. Hey, fix it. What they said in church, fix it, Jesus. Fix it.
Fix it, Jesus. This is how when you say fix it, Jesus, this is Jesus fixing you right now.
This is Jesus.
Because these are the words that are in the scripture.
This is it right here. Yeah.
This is fixing it. It says, reprove thy people, comfort such of them that be in trouble. What trouble? The trouble that we've been talking about this whole lesson. It says, now renounce corruption. With the story I just gave y'all, and I told you that I said what I said, ain't that renouncing corruption? According to the scripture? Because that's a sin, what she's doing, right? But somebody's standing up. What it says in Psalms 92 and 14, who will stand up for me?
Who will stand up for me?
Who will stand up for the workers of against the workers of iniquity? Ain't that 92 and 14 in the book of Psalms? Yes, 92 and 16?
Yes, sir.
That's what we got to do, right? Keep reading.
2 Esdras chapter 14, verse 14. Let go from thee mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature.
Stop right there. You see that? He said, let go of mortal thoughts. Cast off the weak nature. That weak nature is not being able to stand up to unrighteousness. Not being able to stand up to people that you know that are wrong, but you don't want to say nothing because you don't want to fight or you don't want to lose relationship. And he says, put off now the weak nature. Sometimes you got to get gully. He said, put off the weak nature. What you give me one example, brother, of putting off the weak nature. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what is putting off the weak nature? Because don't it take strength to do this, what we talking about?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Don't it take a lot of strength to do this? This is not for the weak of heart. He's telling you to put off the weak nature. It takes strength to do this. You don't just go, oh, sister, you wrong. Oh, you shouldn't do that. When you're standing up to somebody, you may lose a relationship with them. You're standing up for righteousness. And it may cause a person to hate you. But didn't the Bible say, do you now hate me? Therefore, you hate me because I what?
Because I tell you the truth.
You hate me because I tell you the truth. So you're going to be hated for telling the truth sometime. I'm not trying to offend on purpose, but you will be. You're still going to offend. But go ahead. Read verse 15.
2nd Ezra 14, verse 15. And set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times.
You see that? Set aside the thoughts that are more, set aside, it says, set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee. So those are heavy thoughts, y'all. Those are very heavy thoughts. Those are hard things to deal with. They're very hard to deal with. But these are things that we must do. Because if we're going to stamp out set our nation right and stamp out these wrongdoings and set in order the righteousness of this nation, it's going to be a lot of hard conversations. It's going to be a lot of head butting. It's going to be a lot of broken up situations that may have to mend. Because sometimes you got to rip the Band-Aid off, and it's going to be blood going to go everywhere, right? You're going to rip the Band-Aid off, and it's going to be some blood that's going to shoot out everywhere. But guess what? That wound can't heal. It can heal. You know? But that's all I got, brother. You got something? Because it can heal. And that's what we got to do.
I got a couple of scriptures I'm going to pull out, all in the same chapter.
Go ahead.
All in the same book, so that way we can wrap it up. Give me Titus chapter 2.
I got you.
And start at verse 3.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm breaking this.
Titus chapter 2?
Yeah. Titus chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 3. I'm bringing this because while my brother has been showing a lot of things that our sisters are doing in the world, our mothers, our aunties, our grandmothers, our sisters, and these are the things that we need for our women to stop doing. Not for us as the men, for us as a nation of people, right?
Say that.
Now, I know that one thing that we have a problem with sometimes is sometimes we got to replace the old actions with new actions, right? So let's find out how we should do this. Titus chapter 2, start at verse 3.
This is the book of Titus chapter 2 and verse 3. And it reads, the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Stop right there.
Not false. Okay.
So you notice he said holiness. My brother always breaks it down every time he come across this word. This word holiness means to be set apart. So you got to be set apart from what the other women do. Because the women who are in the world, if you're trying to be a righteous woman, a woman of God, a daughter of Zion, a daughter of Sarah, then you got to understand you have to be set apart because you are the example that they are looking for. Right now, our women don't have a lot of options to see righteousness. It's not a lot of women. When I was young, we had who we had? We had Claire Huxtable, and you had this TV black mom, you had that TV black mom, and these were women who had jobs and they stayed home, they took care of their families. This was just on TV, right? But now today, it's always a single parent household. It's always some LGBTQ mess going on with it. It's always something else. It's always some horrorism, right? And so this is why he's saying you need to have your behavior holiness set apart from all that other mess, right? Go ahead.
Behavior as becoming holiness, not false accusers, not giving too much wine, teachers of good things.
Perfect. Stop right there. So not false accusers, all that gossiping, all that finger pointing at what this person is doing, but never showing what you're doing. You can correct someone else, but you can't get corrected, right? Right? It says not with wine, because even in this truth, You know, sisters be hanging out. It be the feast day. We chilling, and it's a whole bunch of alcohol, and now emotions are coming out, and you ruining the time. Or now the one sister who you didn't get along with, you got some alcohol in you, so now you feel like you're gonna be a little cantankerous with her or something. Man, we don't need that. But what we do need is what? Teachers of good things. What is good? Romans 7 tell you what is good. Deuteronomy 6:25 tell you what is good. We need y'all to be teaching these commandments. Who you gonna teach? Let's see. Read on.
Verse 4, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children.
So love your husband.
Discreet.
So love your husband and your children. And we already understand. And what you got to understand is we're just a microcosm of what the Most High is. So if we're supposed to love and be obedient to our husband, the Most High in Christ, right? Guess what? Women, you got to be obedient to your husband. You need to follow his leadership. You got a righteous husband who's trying to keep these commandments. Follow that. Listen to him. Maybe it's something, maybe you don't agree, but maybe you disagree because you don't understand. Take the time out. That's why it says in the very next line, it says to be discreet. That means to kind of chill and sit back. Let it come to you, right? Read on.
Chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of God be not blasphemed.
So see, it says chaste. Chaste means to I don't know if any of you are familiar with a chastity belt, right? Go look up what a chastity belt is and look at what it does. It's making a woman keep herself together. It's making her keep her legs closed. Okay. My brother put out several examples of baby mamas, right? If you was chaste, it wouldn't be too much of that. It wouldn't be too much of that, right? Then it says keepers at home. Keepers at home. What does that mean? Yeah, that mean cook. Yeah, that mean clean. Yeah. What it means is, hey, let me make sure the spirit of the Most High is in this house. My husband going at work. Let me make sure the spirit of the Most High is in this house. Before I send you to school, son, you know Deuteronomy 6:25 say that the commandment is righteous, right? Okay, good job, son. Hey, daughter, before you go to school, let me make sure you understand that we're supposed to love the Most High God with this, and this, right? Okay, good. Go to school, baby. I'll see you when I pick you up. We being good keepers at home, keeping that spirit in your house while your man away, you keeping that spirit there, right? Then it says,
God.
Drop down to read verse 7 for me.
Verse 7. In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity.
Read on.
Verse 8. Sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you.
So you see that, notice how all the things it's saying that we're supposed to be showing a pattern of good works in what? In doctrine. What's our doctrine? This word, these commandments, right?
That's right.
It says showing uncorruptness. Uncorruptness meaning no backbiting, none of that. You know what? I know my man said this, but I'm gonna go behind him or go underneath him or go over him to do what I want to do. I'm gonna ignore what he's saying. I'm gonna ignore his correction, right? Gravity meaning being well-rounded. But you're doing all that in what? Last one says what? Sincerity. You need to be here in sincerity. Don't serve your husband with side eye. No, don't serve the Lord in side eye. No, in sincerity. Understand and appreciate that, man, the love and the grace and forgiveness and the patience and long suffering the Most High has given us, we don't deserve it. So serve the Most High in sincerity. Take it to heart that you don't deserve it, and we need to serve and be thankful and grateful. Your husband, if he a right man, appreciate that man, because it's a sacrifice that he making. It's order that he trying to give. It's work on him every day. And so you're supposed to be that helpmeet. So you're supposed to be in sincerity helping him make this house right. Then it says in what? sound speech that cannot be condemned. All that, yeah, all this and all that. Man, one thing I heard an elder sister, I'm not going to say who she is, but I heard a sister say that one thing some of our sisters need to know how to do is we got to y'all don't have to get the last word all the time. Sometimes just shut it down. Sometimes just shut it down, man. Right? That cannot be condemned. That he that is of the contrary part, someone who's not in the truth, right, may be ashamed. This is the key thing right here. Having no evil thing to say of you. Listen, sisters, if y'all tuning in and y'all ain't like what Big Bro had to say today, then you need to go back, read verses 3 all the way down, because that's how you fix this.
Yep.
This is how you fix this. And then if you fix it, then what? My brother will have no evil thing to say of you. This is
about you. That's right.
Simple. This is a straight line. That's how simple this is. Straight line.
Yep.
So really, we got to come back to the commandments. And if the commandments is telling us to submit, the women to submit to our husband, and telling the men to stand up and be manful, this is what we got to do. That's just the order of it.
That's right.
My brother made a lesson. It's called, I think it's called Sisters. Submission is what is it up?
Oh, submission. Is it submission as a choice or submission?
I think it's something like that. But my brother got a lesson. Yeah, it's here on the Shema. Y'all check it out. It's about sisters. Submission is not, I think it's like not a negative, or it doesn't take away, something to that effect. Y'all gonna see it. It's a wonderful lesson. I've shared it with a lot of women. They appreciate it. This lesson in itself is going to be shared from my hands personally. It's a powerful lesson. It should be appreciated. We love y'all. We're not dissing y'all. We love y'all, and we just want y'all to stand up and be right
and be
in the eyes of the Most High. Simple and plain. That's all I got.
Daughters of Sarah. Man, all praises to the Most High for that, man. But really, like my brother said, we just want our women to stand up. We want these women to be daughters of Sarah, as they were supposed to be, right? We want these women to come back to y'all's heritage, come back to y'all's righteousness. And we can't do that by turning a blind eye on the things that we see, the misbehavior that we see inside and outside of Israel, because even those women that ain't in the truth, those are our sisters too. And we cannot get anywhere with turning a blind eye to the things that are in the world. If I say, well, I'm only going to deal with the people that's in Israel. No, Christ didn't tell us to do that. Christ told us to deal with all our people. Christ told us to be an example to all our people, right? So we have to do that, you know? And so I wanted this class to hit some points on this class. And I think we hit that today, but I wanted to make sure you guys understood how serious it was that these women come back to righteousness. And y'all understand this. Women, sisters, we can't do this thing without y'all. Straight up. We went into slavery as a nation. We coming back to the Most High God as a nation.
Bring it out.
That's how it works. That's how it works. We don't get to say, forget all the women and we just gonna do what we gonna do and be righteous. No. We gotta set y'all in order first. We gotta set everything righteous and first. And it's gonna be words said that y'all ain't gonna like. It ain't gonna be with smooth words that we're gonna set this nation back in order. It's gonna be with it's gonna be with some fighting and some teeth pulling. It's gonna be some hurt. It's gonna be some scraped knees and some pulled out teeth to get us back right. and that's the truth, you know. And with that, that's all I got. That's all I got.
Man, it was right. Exactly.
Happy Feast of Tabernacles.
Happy Tabernacles.
All praises, man. Happy Feast of Tabernacles to all those who are keeping the feast and are doing it. We meeting tonight at the shop at 7:00. This will be our first night celebrating it. We're about to do it. You know, we're gonna be at the lake the 6th, 7th, and 8th, doing our thing. And with that, I say shalom.
Shalom, big bro.
Love you, bro.
Love you, big bro.
All right, shalom, brother. Love you back, brother. Shalom.